back here on the bonus round from I Am 8-Bit in Los Angeles. This month, it's all about the new consoles, and this week we've got Michael Pachter, Michael McWhirter, and Garnet Lee with us. Michael, I was just remembering, I think you were on first bonus round where we were talking about the launch, I think, of Xbox 360, PS3. Here we are, a generation later, still talking about these things. You and Jason Rubin, I remember having debates about Blu-rays and how many high-def TVs you had in your house.
I had none, and Jason had one in every room, I think.
Exactly. But here we are, 7, 8 years later, and now let's move on to Xbox One. So, I mean, what a challenging year Microsoft has had so far with Xbox One. I think going into the year, everyone was thinking, hey, these guys are going to be golden. We're excited to see what they're going to do. And now here we are, a month away from launch. They're coming out a week after the PlayStation 4. Still lots of, I think, baggage from a tough year in terms of messaging for them. Michael, we'll start again with you. Microsoft dominated at least in America last generation. Do you see any sense that they're going to turn this around here for launch?
You mean that they're going to continue to dominate, or
turn around at least with the momentum now suggests that, as you said last time, that Sony feels like they're going to pull ahead here. Is there anything Microsoft can do?
Microsoft made one really big mistake last year, and that mistake is $500.
Right.
And that $100 price disadvantage is not fatal, but it's going to cost them millions of sales.
Right.
And, I'm curious. I don't know that you're going to see it at launch. I think you're going to see it next year.
Right.
And I question, with Don Matrick no longer as CEO, or as head of Xbox, and you've got Julie Larson-Green running the hardware group. You just saw Surface get cut by something like $200 to a price below the iPad. You're getting a new CEO to replace Ballmer, so theoretically, you're going to get a guy who cares more about the brand. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a price cut really quickly. So if they fall too far behind Sony, I think you get that price cut.
By January or something? Or?
That's a little early, because like I said, I think these things will be sold out. So by E3.
Okay.
I think Microsoft probably is going to hope that Titanfall will sell boxes and maybe that Halo will sell boxes. And if they don't, then I think that you're going to see a price cut by E3, and that's great. I think that's good for consumers. Yeah. I frankly don't think the two boxes should be priced differently. It's Microsoft's choice to give you Kinect, and it's Microsoft's choice to sell you services that would use Kinect, like Skype, Skype calls to phone numbers. If they want to give you that so that they can sell you a service, then they should. They shouldn't charge you $100 for the privilege, and I think they'll figure that out in the next year.
Right, and we wonder if, are they going to unbundle Kinect, even though they keep saying they're not going to. It's
Yeah, and again, changing the CEO makes a big difference, because that was a Don Matrick initiative, and Don Matrick with the full support of Steve Ballmer, and both are going to be gone. So, but Don's gone now, Ballmer will be gone. So I don't know if they'll unbundle.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I think a lot of us don't know because there's so many changes happening at Microsoft. But Michael, you mentioned before in our last segment that you had pre-ordered a PS4 and not an Xbox One. And I think, this generation, at least for me, I had moved from PlayStation 2, which was sort of my de facto system, to Xbox 360, where I kind of played most games on. Do you feel that, that's at risk now, that a lot of people are going to use like PS4 as their sort of day-to-day console that they just use if they buy both?
Well, that's what the trends seem to suggest. I mean, I think that the price is a big factor here, and I don't really see a lot of great differentiators between the two consoles, and I don't see Kinect as a real compelling argument to spend $100. Well,
especially with there really is almost no content for Kinect at launch. I think there's like a fitness thing from Ubisoft. Kinect, but that's not until next year, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's been moved.
And it's like, so it feels like there is absolutely nothing for Kinect beyond sort of, manipulating the menus and whatnot, which I just don't know how they mess that up if it's such a huge part of
Well, they drank their own Kool-Aid on how cool it would be to talk to your Kinect. I'm going to walk in and go, Xbox on.
You can do that now.
You can, exactly. There's nothing special about it. So I think that was a bit of a misstep for them. But the Trojan horse effect is something we've talked about in the last generation of getting that box under the TV and having it be the default box. So I'm not going to rule out that the HDMI pass-through functionality on the Xbox One might be a little bit of a weapon in their advantage. Could they get to a position where people who have multiple systems hooked up, including PS4, always have that Xbox One on, and to some degree always go through that interface? And if they're always going through that interface, does that sort of erode times, sort of erode their resistance to it and get them to where they're, oh, you know what, I'm in my Xbox Live environment all the time.
Well, I saw you can do the PS4 pass-through to the Xbox One if you want, right?
But to what end? Like, what do you feel like you're going to be getting out of that?
I don't think that I think that's the Trojan horse effect, is that you won't think you're getting anything out of it, but you'll start doing it all the time.
That's how
And
you're
by
going to get
doing it all the
cable,
time,
how
you'll
you're going to get entertainment.
Right, and you just sort of, next thing you realize is like you always have your Xbox One on, and so then moving into doing things with it is an easier move, right?
Well, and
I just
part
have
of
to
it-
figure out how to do that.
I just haven't seen the appeal of that.
I haven't seen the appeal either.
No, but I think, when you think about Xbox and their strategy with TV and all these things, I mean, if and I keep expecting them to announce some kind of subsidy at Xbox, or, a deal with a cable provider where you're going to get an Xbox One for free if you, switch to Fios or something
So
like that.
I spoke to them about that recently.
Doesn't that seem
I spoke to them about that recently, and they acknowledged that that's a brilliant idea,
Right.
that they would really like to do it, and they wish they had started sooner to get that happening. And the reason that they didn't get it done is that they said that the subsidy, they want you to look at the subsidized price as the price.
Right.
So when you look at an iPhone, you say $200. You don't say $650 plus a $350 subsidy. And they said, we weren't sure how to get distribution through cable companies and have subsidized boxes. And I said, easy, Best Buy. Best Buy could absolutely do it. And they go, but we need GameStop as a partner. And I go, right. So you tell GameStop, you better frickin' figure out how to sell cable subscriptions, because that's the only way you're getting any Xboxes. Right. And they said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We didn't start that early enough. So I'll have to make a bet that happens a year from Christmas, not this Christmas. But I think you're going to see a massive cut. And that'll happen if the Xbox falls behind. They're going to be balls out trying to get those
to me,
deals
then,
signed.
if it's like, hey, even for $99, get an Xbox One, that becomes
You'll
your
just
cable
do it.
box,
Yeah,
your
you'll do it.
DVR. And then it's, also the cable company will be more incentivized to allow DVR right on the box.
And I think Microsoft will be perfectly happy if all these PS4 owners also get an Xbox One, because then it's on them to convince you to use the Xbox more. And I was a PS3 guy until I played the third or fourth buggy game that kept freezing my system, and I couldn't save in the middle of the level, and I was pissed, and I just said, screw it. I went and got the game for an Xbox, and flawless, like never broke. So, but I don't know if we're going to have those problems this time around. I have no idea if games are going to freeze.
Well, that's the thing that I saw even last week. Microsoft was saying, the day one update's going to be like a 20-minute download. I mean, the dashboard and sort of all that functionality is, coming in hot. And I don't think we saw a little bit of Sony's interface at Gamescom, but I mean, that whole, suite of software and services, we haven't really seen, hands-on for either system.
And that's something that the mobile market teaches us is uber important right now, is that look and feel, the touch experience that the customer has with whatever they're playing with. The user experience is king, and whichever one of these two consoles gets it right will have a definite leg up. And I'm not sure which one it is right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Microsoft certainly has talked about a lot of big ideas of, switching between TV and your game. And I mean, that could be really, really powerful if it works.
The TV stuff right now is a bit of a miss. The pass-through, in all honesty, I said the pass-through thing because I think that it could be cool, but right now, the way they're showing that it works is a disappointment compared to the lure of what it could be, right? And that's why maybe getting that subsidy stuff, maybe getting better in connected with the TV providers.
That's, I think, their play, right?
That's
it's like
gotta
you
be
can
their
get
play.
Comcast.
For that side.
But I mean, how can they not have that ready for this year? I mean, it feels like that.
Apparently not their first priority early in the year. And again, let's lay this back
What's
on
their priority?
Connect. I don't know what the priority was. Skype. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
but what's interesting is I think what you're teasing out there is I think they have an opportunity next year to come back and be able to push on something like that, which would appeal to a completely different market. And in some ways, Sony is going to sell a lot of units to the core gamers right now. Absolutely. But Microsoft has these aspirations of going wider. Do any of you guys think that this year that appeal of sort of the entertainment, and they're talking about the NFL experience, I've seen that TV ad, is that going to move boxes for them this year, or is it too expensive to really appeal to that audience?
I mean, you're more of a sports guy than I am, but so I'll let you talk to that. But as far as like the entertainment and the TV switching, like I don't have cable, and I'm never gonna get cable. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, I have an antenna. I have a really sweet HD antenna hooked up to my TV, and that's all I really need because I'll watch stuff on Netflix, or I'll rent it, or I'll wait for the DVDs to come out. So like, I'm pretty good with that system, and I feel like I'm not the only one who's kind of in that position and who has zero interest in investing in Microsoft's entertainment services. I don't know, but do you feel?
I'm not super drawn to it. No, I'm not super drawn to it. I think that for the 6-month and 12-month window, as we start to push these boxes out into outside of that core gamer place, then you've got a lot of people who do have, you know, DirecTV or Dish Network or whatever their local cable provider is. And if this could be a better working system than what we've seen so far, then it could be interesting. If it's just what it is right now with the pass-through thing, then, you know, no, I'm no better off than I had a Roku. But I'd say from the entertainment side, you got to get down to comparing games to games, right? And if I'm looking at, you know, right now it's basically Forza 5 and Dead Rising 3 against you know, Killzone and Knack, and that's a and Drive Club, I guess. That's a tough proposition, right? I would say, you know, based off what we saw with Dead Rising looking better, that I might give a little bit, and I'm discounting Rise, but I'm not really feeling Rise that much.
I think it's safe to discount Rise.
Yeah, I think it's safe to.
I think most people are doing that. I mean, that's a pretty common refrain.
But none of the, you know, the thing is, when we get to like Game of the Year conversations, best games of the year, none of these games I think are going to be in the conversation, right?
Probably
so
not.
It's like, you know,
Forza 5 maybe for racing genre.
right?
sort of
Yeah,
thing,
absolutely. No, right? I mean, they're going to be solid, but yeah, they're not going to be those blockbuster games. All right. Well, when we come back, we are going to talk about some of those blockbuster current generation games and what the rest of the industry has in store for the holidays.